Ron and stuff. Another reading from my book, Trifocals, One Man's View. And this is a rather long one, so hopefully I can make it all the way through. And I see I need to just tweak a little bit here. And how's that? That looks good. Okay, this one's titled The Memory That Never Was. Ever have a memory that is so vivid, so real that you know it never happened and could not have happened? I suspect psychologists would say that what I call a memory is really a fantasy, and they're probably right. But this fantasy has been around for so long that it's gotten all tangled up with my real memories and made itself a home there. In the end, it seems to me that it doesn't really make any difference if it's a memory or fantasy. I like it either way. I do wonder, though, if over time our minds fill up with memories that we think are real, but in actuality are just long-lived fantasies. Nevertheless, which follows below is one of my favorite memories. I am a baseball pitcher in the minor league farm team of the New York Yankees, and have been so for 3 years. I'm not a bad pitcher, and I do continue to improve, but I'm not the best pitcher in the Yankees farm system either, or so I think. Thus, I was stunned when my team manager called me just after the farm league season had ended and told me the Yankees were calling me up to join the team in New York. I knew the Yankees were in the World Series against the Atlanta Braves, or would be so in a few days, but why call me up to join the team? Kid, said my manager, I have no idea why they want you. They did say they think their short one relief pitcher with Winger injured, and I guess they just chose you. And I don't get your hopes up, because there's no way in hell you're ever going to pitch in the series. It will probably only be up there for the series and then right back here with me. When I hung up the phone, I was in total shock. I was going to be in the World Series with the New York Yankees. And if they won the series, even if I never pitched a ball, I would still get a World Series ring, just like all the other players. I telephoned everyone I knew and some I hardly knew, telling them the news. Then I crammed a few things in a small bag and headed to the airport in New York. The next day I got to Yankee Stadium an hour before I was told to report. I was nervous and just wanted to look around before other players came into practice. Walking out into the field, I could not believe how huge this stadium was on the inside, and thought of all the incredible players who had played inside this park over the years. It was simply a dream I was having. It had to be. And then I heard my name being called, and when I turned, there walking towards me was Fish, as he was called by everyone, Carlton, the manager of the Yankees. You the new kid pitcher I sent for? Looking down at the perfectly manicured infield grass. Yes, sir, and I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. But he interrupted. Kid, I doubt you will throw one pitch during the series, but I just could not go into the series one relief pitcher short. Besides, you'll give all of our catchers some practice, and they need it. Go inside now, someone will find a uniform in a locker, and then back out here. Practice starts in half an hour. And with that, Fish turned around and headed to the dugout. At first, practice with the team was pretty uncomfortable. It seemed like no one had wanted to talk to me, and I found it hard to even get a catcher to throw to loosen up the arm. My guess was that they were all resentful of me being on the team now, and at the end of the regular season and playoffs, and potentially getting a World Series championship ring, just like them. I guess they felt I had not worked for it, and in a way they were right, but it was not them riding in a crowded old school bus from ball field to ball field and eating crappy food and paying it for yourself. Baseball farm leagues are a slave labor system, but some of these players had never been there and did not know what it was like. Anyway, I did manage to get some pitches thrown, and overall felt happy with the first day of practice. The second day was similar to the first, but some of the players actually began to talk to me, and by late afternoon I had become known as the Kid, and that was fine with me. Finally, the World Series started with the first 2 games in New York to be followed by 3 in Atlanta, and then a return to New York for the final 2 games if needed. From the dugout, I watched the New York Yankees just slaughter the Atlanta Braves in games 1 and 2, with our starting pitchers making it deep into the game before getting relieved. I would never play, I told myself, relaxed, and just could not believe my luck in being there. The series is going to be over in another 2 games as the Yankee hitters were too strong and our relief pitching too deep. But after the series moved to Atlanta, as good as we had been in New York, we were as bad in Atlanta. Atlanta easily won the next 2 games and fished through pitcher after pitcher at the Braves, hoping to take at least 1 win back to New York, but it didn't turn out that way. The 3rd game in Atlanta was close, and we held our own for most of the way, but in the 9th, our relief pitcher threw a wild pitch and Atlanta scored the winning run. 3 games Atlanta, 2 games Yankees, and back to New York. Game 6 was a pitching duel, with both teams going to relief pitcher after relief pitcher. But in the 8th inning, we managed to rally and eventually won the game, tying the series 3 games apiece. The World Series was going to a final, deciding 7th game. When I got to the stadium for the 7th game, the locker room was so quiet it scared me. Had the team's confidence been shaken, or were they concentrating on what must be done? No one said a word, and it was a quiet walk out to the dugout. The warm-ups was spooky, and not merely a word spoken, even among the usually talkative infielders. Finally, the game began, and we started out great with 4 runs in the 1st inning. But then it stayed that way until the 7th, when Atlanta staged their own rally and came up with 3 runs. So with 2 innings to go, we led by a single run. At the bottom of the 7th, we managed to get 1 man on base, but that was it. And going into the 8th inning, the score was Yankees 4, Atlanta Braves 3. After the Braves rally in the 7th, Fish yanked the starting pitcher and put in Ruddock, one of our best relief pitchers who had not thrown since Game 2. For a while he looked sharp and struck out the first 2 batters of the 8th inning easily and quickly, but then a hit, a walk, and Ruddock was in trouble. Luckily for us, the next batter hit into an infield out and the inning ended with no additional runs for the Braves. Our at-bat in the 8th yielded nothing as the Braves had switched pitchers and we could not connect to anything. 9th inning of the World Series, 4-3 Yankees. Just 1 more inning, just 3 more outs, and the Yankees would win the series. When the 9th started, Ruddock was again on the mound, but he did not look good from the start. He walked the first batter, putting a tying run on base, and then gave up a single deep to left field. He got the next 2 batters on pop fly outs, but he obviously was struggling with control. As I watched Ruddock standing nervously at the pitcher's mound, all of a sudden my view was blocked, and when I looked up, Fish was standing right in front of me. I stood up. "Kid," Fish began, "I know this is a hell of a time to send you in, but Ruddock just doesn't have the right stuff down, and we're fresh out of relief. I watched you in practice, and you can do this. All I'm asking for is just 1 out. Just 1 out, kid. 1. And with that, he turned toward the dugout stairs, and I followed him up the stairs and out into the field. As he walked out on the field, he called time and proceeded with me in tow to the pitcher's mound. All this time, I had been focusing on the game so much I had not really listened to the crowd. But now there seemed to be a giant question of noise coming from everywhere. What is Fish doing? Who is that kid? What is he doing putting a kid in now? Is he crazy? When he got to the mound, Ruddock looked relieved, as he really had been struggling, and he knew it. He took off his cap and mopped his brow. Fish began, "Look, you know and I know you just don't have it today, so thanks for the great effort. But I just have to replace you." Ruddock did not argue with Fish to stay in the game like some pitchers do, and handed me the ball and simply said, "Good luck." Then Ruddock and Fish walked to the dugout, and I was left alone. Alone on the pitcher's mound, in the middle of the Yankee Stadium, 7th and deciding game of the World Series, 2 outs, 9th inning, and sweat dripping out of it. My heart pounding away, and I just knew everyone in the stadium could hear me. Calm yourself, I thought, but it didn't seem to help much. Fingered the ball over and over, look out at center field, breathe. Not ready to face home plate yet, I fingered the ball in my hand, wiped my forehead, tried to dry my hands on my pants, and finally turned toward home's plate. And there on the on-deck batter circle is the Braves' best hitter. With only 1 out to go, they had nothing to lose using a pinch hitter rule, and so they had. Oh God, his bat looked monstrous as he swung it over and over, and then stepping up to the plate, he swung his bat in a half swing, pointing it directly at me, as if to say, "Watch out, kid, I'm gonna send one to you." I threw a few pitches to loosen up the arm, and then the umpire calls out, "Play ball," and I again turn away from home plate. "Okay, I can do this," I said to myself. "I can do this." I turn and look for the sign from the catcher, McGill. It's low and outside. He wants me to throw the first pitch low and outside. I guess he does not trust me very much, and he does not want any power. And he might even swing as a low and away pitch and miss. I calm myself, put the foot on the pitcher's mound rubber, wind up, and throw. Low and away it is, but too low and too away, and the umpire calls out, "Ball 1." Immediately, McGill calls time and comes walking out to the pitcher's mound. "Kid," he says to me, "Kid, you ever play any sandlot baseball? You know, just a bunch of kids playing a game for fun. Did you, kid? Well, this here is just like that. Just think of playing for fun, the games, and you'll be okay. Now, when I go back there, you throw exactly what I tell you to. You can do this, kid." And with that, he turned and walked back to home plate. Sandlot. All the fun games on Saturday. As sweat poured down my face and my heart pounded, it sure didn't feel like sandlot or fun. But then I remembered the time I had struck out the loud mouth in the neighborhood. Don't think you ever forgot it and was not so loud a mouth ever again. Sandlot. Fun. Sandlot. I checked the bases to see if anyone was thinking about running on the pitch, but they're hugging their bases. Once again, I'll look at home plate, and the sign McGill is right across the plate and high. No, can't be, and I wag off the pitch with my head. Again, McGill flashes me the sign for right across the plate and high. I look towards Fish in the dugout, but read nothing. I wind up, and after I see the batter swing ever so hard, the ball finds its home in McGill's catcher's mitt with a loud thud. "Strike 1, calls the umpire, and the batter begins to swing his bat more furiously now, over and over, half swing, and points it to me. Runners are holding on bases, and McGill signs a curveball low and away. I take my time, and the Sandlot loudmouth comes to mind. Sandlot fun. I bring the ball forward, and this time I can see the batter ready. He's going to smash this one out of the park. But at the last moment, the ball curves just like it's supposed to, and again smashes under McGill's catcher's mitt. "Strike 2, yells the umpire. The crowd, which had been subdued, is now on their feet and screaming, "One more out, one more out." Sandlot, Sandlot, I keep repeating to myself, and remember all the games, all the fun, all the lost balls of deciding who would be on which team and how it really didn't matter. McGill gets down to his stance and signals me another low and away, while the batter continues to swing and swing his mighty bat. Last pitch must have scared McGill, and maybe, just maybe, I will hit the corner of the plate low and away and still give the batter nothing to really hit. I compose, draw the ball and glove to my chest, and reach way back and throw it with all I have. Again, it's too low and away, and the batter never even thinks about trying for it. Ball two, calls the umpire. McGill stands up and shakes the kinks out of his knees and legs and gives me some time. Then he's back down in the stance and signals for a sinker. A sinker? What if it hangs over the plate? What if the ball does not sink at the last moment like it's supposed to, and this guy blasts it out of the park? I shake my head no. McGill again shows me the sign for a sinker. I check the bases, but the runners are holding. I wind up and let it go. It looks good, and then just over the plate, it falls like a rock, and the ump yells, "Ball three." Oh God, could it get any worse? It is now Yankees 4-3 over the Atlanta Braves in the 7th game of the World Series, 9th inning, 2 out, 2 men on bases, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And here I am, a farm league pitcher alone on the mound. Sandlot, Sandlot, like some mantra over and over. I tipped the ball in the jungle sticker bushes behind home plate in the ensuing search for our only ball. Then once more I faced the Braves batter and checked McGill for the sign. Low and away, he signals. What? I've already thrown 2 of those and neither has been on the edge of the plate for a strike. What? Again I shake my head to wave off what he wants me to throw, but again he flashes me low and away. And then for some reason, I'll never really be sure why, I began to focus on the eyes of the batter instead of home plate. His eyes seemed to burn like glowing coals, and for a moment I think I can see myself through them. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. I put my foot on the pitcher's mound, rubber, and draw back my arm. I never heard the umpire's call, but I saw the dust fly out of McGill's mitt when the ball hit, and then the crowd going crazy loud, the whole team running out on the field and surrounding me. It had been low and away, but it just nipped the outside of home plate, and the batter was left standing there as the umpire, I call it, strikes 3. Like nothing I have ever experienced before or since, the celebration parties lasted for 2 days. And through it all, there was no resentment about the kid getting a ring. Finally, on the 3rd day after the end of the series, it came time for everyone to clean out their lockers and head home for winter. As I packed my bag, Fish approached me and said, "Kid, you did well, you really did. But 3 strikes doesn't make a player in this league, and I have to send you back down. Maybe next year, kid, maybe next year." So I returned home just flying high, but when spring training started for my farm league team, I told them I could not play anymore. Nothing would ever be as good as my moments in the big league. I've never regretted my decision. See what I mean by memory? It felt real, didn't it? No, not one of yours, I know, but you must have some sort of similar, long-lived memory, or is it a fantasy? Memories are funny things. That was the memory that never was, and today is the 24th of July, 2025.